All right, welcome everyone. Welcome. We welcome back. We took a week off from some of our interviews, so it is so nice to be back for Vista Votes as we are interviewing U.S. congressional candidate Miss Kirsten Engel. Welcome, Miss Engel. It's a pleasure to have you.
Great to be here, Dimitri. Thanks so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Once again, everyone, Vista Votes is a series that we're doing partnered with Qualifin Online, Coaches Live, and other partners, so we can make sure that we have the best informed electorate out here. We want to make sure that you guys have the opportunity to meet the candidates, ask them questions about what they plan on accomplishing, how they plan on representing you, and what they're going to do for us here in Cochise County. All right. So, Ms. Ingo, tell us about yourself. I mean, I've been to your website. I've seen so many great things. It was overwhelming, right? Because you've done a lot of stuff. But tell the community about yourself.
Okay, well, thank you. I think the most important thing to know about me is probably that I'm a mom. I've got a daughter that's in high school here in Tucson Unified School District where I live, and I'm also a teacher. I moved here with my husband and at that time my infant daughter about 18 years ago to take jobs at the University of Arizona.
Mm.
And that's why I live in Tucson, and I've been teaching at the university. And I'm also a former state legislator. So I served 2 terms in the Arizona House and also served in the Arizona Senate before stepping down in order to run for what's now Ann Kirkpatrick's seat in Congress. And I think the last thing to know, but I'm a big Arizonan now. I love it here. My parents followed me out to move here. They moved 2 doors from me. Uh,
Wow.
my daughter doesn't know any other place but here, and this has been a great place. I just think it could be better, and I'm running for working on protecting people's reproductive health care rights. That's the biggest crisis right now here in Arizona. I'm running to work on some of our critical environmental issues that I'm sure we'll get into during this podcast or whatever we're doing, Facebook Live. Work on our water issues, work on education, and work on the economy. So it truly provides opportunity to everyone. So I don't know how much you want me to say
No,
as
no,
introductory, but
that was
we'll
great.
get
That
into
was
the
great.
questions, I'm sure.
Right.
So I'm thrilled to be here. This is a critical seat in Congress. You probably know this is a seat that was once held by Gabby Giffords,
Mm.
a well loved Congresswoman who did so much when she was in office before the tragedy of being shot. It's a very important seat here, and it's a very important time in the United States.
Hmm. Definitely. So why now? Why you've been active over the years. You've served in different capacities. What made you decide to run for Congress now?
Well, I think this is a district that I know well. My seat the district that I represented in the Arizona legislature for 5 years, almost entirely overlaps with this district.
Mm.
And a lot of the issues that I worked on in the state legislature, uh, from education to water to clean energy, uh, all of these issues to reproductive health care rights are really critical issues at the federal level.
Mhm.
And I feel like I people know me. Uh, People have trusted me. They've reelected me twice in
Mm.
this district. And I've really gotten to know the larger congressional district as well. And these are all really, really critical issues. And I think I have a lot to offer on them. So I'm throwing myself in. I feel very lucky to be at a point in my life when I can do that.
Mhm.
I got my family behind me, and I'm ready to work for people in this district. And it couldn't be more critical. And I think being able, having had the experience that I have had in the state legislature, to know a lot of, how the state works, the things that have worked, the things that haven't worked. I think that gives a real advantage to me in terms of representing this district in Congress.
Excellent. So, like you said, you've been everywhere in this community. I mean, I followed, I'm following all the candidates, but I've definitely seen you here in Cochise County more than almost any candidate. Honestly,
Very nice. I love Cochise County. I mean, we've got almost the entirety of Cochise County in this district. I think it's the only county that almost the entire county is in one congressional district.
So as you're out there canvassing and you're talking to individuals, what are you hearing people in Cochise County saying? What are their issues here?
Well, I have to say, one of the biggest issues has been water. And that is something I know well and worked on a lot in the legislature. And of course, my background as environmental attorney also helps with that. But I have to say, actually, the issue of reproductive health care rights has eclipsed that issue in terms of the issue that people are talking to me about. And it is all over this district. I think because it has just felt like such a slap in the face to women in this district. And I think it's the most unsettling thing. So I would say, reproductive health care rights, especially because, and I know that recently you spoke with Chris Mays on this show and others, everyone is talking about it, going back to a pre-statehood law, which bans abortion without exceptions, except to save the life of the mother, and to have such extreme Republican candidates. My Republican opponent is also extreme on this, cheering the repeal of Roe versus Wade, knowing full well that a law like Arizona's is on the books and would be the law of the land, banning abortion without exception. So I think it's really unsettling to people and their future and families. And there couldn't be a bigger distinction between the Democratic candidates who are running to protect women's fundamental freedom in this area and the Republicans who, frankly, are leaving it to politicians.
Interesting. Now,
water, I would also say water is huge.
You mentioned right now that water is such a major issue, and you having that background as an environmental attorney, what would be your approach? How do you feel we need to approach our water issues here in Cochise County, and how would you do so as a representative?
Well, Cochise County is an area that's really more reliant on, what falls from the sky, as well as pumping groundwater. And it also has the beautiful San Pedro, one of the last free-flowing rivers in Arizona. And I think what is really a shame about the water situation in Cochise County is that since there really has been, very little oversight of water, either to even know how much water is being used, and basically no limitations on how much water can be pumped from our aquifers. We really are facing a real crisis right now. The world is warmer. It is. We are in a 21-year mega drought right now. It's affecting everyone, and so water is more and more precious. And yet, what we're seeing is groundwater levels dropping all over Cochise County, and we're also seeing that it's the people who are paying the price of those dropping water levels. is not spread evenly.
Mm.
It's a lot of people with individual homeowners with wells that are going dry, businesses, small farms, and yet we also have some major businesses, dairies.
And definitely Fort Huachuca would be affected by that. I mean, that's a major issue here in Sierra Vista, just our livelihood and really for all of Cochise County. So, like you said, like the farmers, ranchers, everyone would be affected. And I know that you've spoken with the Cochise and Graham Cattle Workers Association.
Cattle Growers Association.
Yeah, what was that like?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, that was great. They were so kind to me, and I was able to be part of their program, of their annual meeting, and to talk frankly about water, because that is really affecting ranchers here. As there's less and less, there's less water. The rangelands are dry. Cattle needs to move around more. So really what we need is we need more work on conserving our water. We should be monitoring our water to know what is being used, how much, and we need to figure out that how are we going to live within the envelope of the water that is available, and what can we do to continue our livelihoods. Ranching is a big part of the economy in Cochise County, as is farming, as is new businesses. The wine industry is coming in, so that we can use our water, efficiently to be able to keep those industries alive. But we're not just drawing down our water so that, in 20 years, the water just isn't available. Right. So, there's a lot of smart ways of doing ranching. There's smart ways of doing farming. There's resources that the federal government can bring to bear on this.
So you'd be following in the footsteps of Gabby Giffords, of Ms. Kirkpatrick. How do you plan on taking this position to the next level? What are some of the ideas and some things that you want to get accomplished as a congresswoman?
On the water issue specifically?
Just in general.
Yes. Well, there's a million great ideas for how we can, for instance, use our water more wisely. How can we conserve our water? How can we use drip irrigation? How can we cover our irrigation canals with things like solar panels so that the water doesn't evaporate? How can we create markets for new crops that maybe bring in, that do not use as much water? So all of these are good ideas. So what I'd like to do is work with all the stakeholders in the district to see if we can get these ideas implemented and to get the resources in Congress to bring back to places like Cochise County to be able to put them into effect. So what I see myself is somebody who, has a lot of contacts, knows something about these issues, but certainly I'm not an expert in all of these areas and all of these issues, but I'm willing to go out, talk to people, bring people together, come up with solutions, and then go and advocate for them in Congress.
So, as you've been out naturally, Cochise County typically is a very conservative community. How do you look at working with individuals across the aisle to get things done, right? Because at the end of the day, it's the numbers that count. And when we're talking about bringing resources and creating partnerships, how do you plan on working across the aisle to get these things done?
Well, I'm not new to working across the aisle. I did serve in the Arizona legislature and as a member of the Democratic Party. And the legislature is, controlled by the Republicans, and they have a slender majority in both the Arizona State House and the Arizona Senate when I was there. And something I tell people that might not be used to kind of how these bodies work is, there's an awful lot that goes on that isn't on the front page of the newspaper. And while members from, different across the aisle, may be fighting, tooth and nail on certain issues, they're also sitting down and talking to each other on a lot of other issues. And so certainly, I worked a lot on environmental issues, on issues of education, on issues of criminal justice across the aisle when I was in the Arizona legislature. And, that means, taking your ideas, taking your bills, knocking on people's doors, sitting down with them saying, would you help me out on this bill? Or if you don't like it, let's talk about how it could be changed to try to make some progress on these issues. And I don't think anything is really, it's no different for how these sorts of things work on the federal side. And you take something like water. I mean, we're all relying on water. There's no future in Arizona without a secure water supply. So everybody realizes the importance of it, and nobody has control over the whole thing. So this is something where I went to the Cattle Growers Association. I've gone to the Farm Bureau of Cochise County. I've talked to a lot of homeowners, and it's something everybody's really concerned about, and they're looking for allies. Right. They're looking for allies to help them out.
So, you get elected, and now you're a freshman congresswoman. And I'm going to the chat here, looking at some of the questions in the comments. There's a lot of things going on with the Supreme Court, especially, as you said, with protecting particular rights and things of that nature. So would you be in favor of adding more justices to the Supreme Court, let's say the 13 justices, or adding more federal judges to the affiliate courts?
Well, we are actually, there's a lot of proposals out there for how to address the problem that we are facing of having truly a pretty radically right-wing Supreme Court majority that is willing to go pretty far out in terms of overturning precedent. We know, they just overturned a 50-year precedent of Roe versus Wade. Certainly the 9 members of the Supreme Court, that number is not set in stone. I realize that. One of the issues with, just adding more people to the court is, it can be kind of a, tit for tat type situation that you get into, that whatever party's in the majority will be adding more justices to the Supreme Court. There are some interesting ideas that have been raised, though, on this issue to try to make it less subject to, happenstance. What president is able to select members of the Supreme Court. And I am interested in some of those ideas. We know that President Trump had, 3 appointees on the Supreme Court. President Biden has had 1. And that just because of deaths or retirements, that can really swing the court back and forth just because of things that personal things going on in the lives of Supreme Court justices, which seems to me a bit arbitrary, I have to say. So certainly I haven't decided exactly. It's certainly not going to be up to me by myself, but I certainly would like to examine proposals for figuring out ways that we can get out of being locked into extreme views from our Supreme Court, which is so important just because of the happenstance of the personal lives of Supreme Court justices.
Right. All right, chat, please, this is your opportunity. Please post your questions if you have anything specific. I do see some of the comments, but please, specific questions would help me, and we can make sure that the congressional candidate has an opportunity to answer those. What we're going to do now, we're going to visit your website. Let's go take a look at some of the things that you have there, and let's discuss a little bit more about your platform. All right, give me 1 second. So everyone, you can go and take a look at her website at engelforarizona.com. All right, as you continue to scroll down, you'll learn more about her, why she's running in different ways if you want to get involved. All right. A little bit on your backstory. Like I said, I was reading this earlier.
I love that photo. Yeah. Well, we've got pictures of that was during the Red for Ed. I was in the Arizona legislature at the time, and that was a quite an amazing experience to have something like 30,000 teachers come to the Capitol to march for better pay and more money for our schools, and it was effective. It was really effective, and I have hats off to the teachers. They're one of the reasons that I ran for office was because of education, and it's one of the reasons I continue to want to be in office, is to fight for our kids, and teachers are doing that every single day.
All right, and then you can go. You'll learn more about why she's running, some of the issues here, and what she plans on doing. So building an economy that works for everyone. Tell us a little bit more about that. What does that mean to you? What is your vision, and what would you like to accomplish when it pertains to that?
Well, I think going back to education, I think that's the probably the most important key building block of a good economy, is having an excellent education system for everyone. That is that's what we need to build up the middle class. That's what we've had in this country, and that's not what we have in Arizona right now. Arizona is ranked 48th, 49th in terms of education and what we provide to our students, and that's been the Ducey administration has been in office, and the schools have not improved. They have gotten worse, and I have to say, my Republican opponent has been part of the Ducey administration, so I hope people are prepared to ask him and ask themselves, do you really want somebody who has not been able to turn around our school system to be leading and representing this district in Congress? I think another important building block of the economy is to make sure that we're on the cusp of the big economic changes that are happening in the United States and taking advantage of them. And one of the biggest changes that we're facing right now is a transition to clean energy. And we are seeing that this is important in terms of the environment and reducing drought, but it also is just a great opportunity for Arizona, with over 300 days of sunshine every year, even more. We can really take advantage of this interest in clean energy.
So recently, Senator Kelly and Senator, I'm so sorry, her name is escaping me at this moment. Sinema. Yeah, Senator Sinema. They helped bring in resources to Wilcox and to Bisbee. I think a sum total of about $5 million is coming into Cochise County as a part of those relief bills from COVID and things like that, when it pertains to infrastructure and when it pertains to tourism, which are huge components of our community. One thing that naturally we struggle with as a rural community is fiber and having access to Wi-Fi and those things. So how would you,
infrastructure.
Right. How would you fight for Cochise County to bring in more resources so that we can compete, right? When we're talking about the economy, we know that things are going to get more digitalized and you're going to need stronger connection. How are you going to go and fight for Cochise County for that?
Well, I think is making it clear that we need these resources to connect our rural communities, and how vital it is to their economy, as you are saying, the schools, but also businesses and even farms and ranches. They are all relying on broadband as well. So it's really something that has become a necessity of our economy, of actually our lives, of even our schools, our healthcare systems, our businesses, to have broadband and affordable broadband as well. So this is another situation where, making the case for making sure that we get the resources, and then making sure that the local entities know how to get those resources, and that we get them into our communities and get them hooked up and working. Those are top priorities.
Mm-hmm. Now, naturally, some of the other issues that pertain specifically to Cochise County are border issues, right? And we have a lot of questions from the chat when it pertains to border issue. Chat, give me 1 second. What is your stance on addressing the border issues? Where are you at with that?
Well, this is a critical issue, and I have to say, I think it's clear Washington has failed us on this, and I don't think it matters whether you're talking about Republicans or Democrats. I don't think either party in Washington has done what it needs to do on the border. And as a result, I think, Arizona has had a much higher burden as a result of being a border state. So we do need to secure our border. We have, drug smuggling. The fentanyl problem has been really critical. A lot of that going through the ports of entry. Human trafficking, just a horrific thing driven by cartels. So these are critical issues that we need to address. But walls are not the answer. These things are happening despite us, not having walls for much of our border. Despite having much of our border actually with a wall. So that's as I often say, a 13th century solution to a 20th century problem. We need more technology. We need manpower, and there's also, very, very significant humanitarian issues on the border with, the large number of migrants coming to seek entry to the United States. And we really need to have an orderly asylum process for those people who are requesting entry to our country. This is the law of the land. They have the right to request that. And yet long waits, a lot of our Border Patrol officers are taken away from their law enforcement duties in order to process migrants and their asylum claims. That to me doesn't make sense. We need to have more manpower for that, more immigration judges, and a more orderly process. And we need to fix our immigration laws. Think about the dreamers that are in our country, that they know no other country except the United States. They grew up here. They've been going to school here. They're starting families, starting businesses. We need to make sure they've got a pathway to citizenship. So we need to get through this logjam we've had in Congress with respect to our immigration laws.
Okay. And as you're saying, drugs flowing in, guns, different things like that. What is your stance on, excuse me, let me go back to the question here. On gun control and the banning of assault rifles and things like that?
Well, we have a real problem with gun violence in the United States, and it is as a mother, as a citizen, it very much concerns me. I have, as many parents have, received that call from my child, crouching under a desk in her classroom, scared out of her mind because there's reports of an armed gunman outside. So that is scary, and there are there's been, I think everyone would agree, there's been too much gun violence in the United States. At the same time, of course, we have the Second Amendment, and as a member of Congress, as a state official, we pledge to support the Constitution and protect Second Amendment rights. But that doesn't mean that we can't do smart, commonsensical things to reduce the incidence of gun violence. And I very much support having, as 90% of Americans do, having comprehensive background checks for people. And I think with respect to military assault rifles, I feel like this is something that 18-year-olds should not be able to walk into a gun store and be able to purchase and walk right out. So I definitely support raising the age for purchase. While I was in the legislature, I also, supported other measures to close loopholes, such as the gun show loophole to the background check requirement, where, in private sales at gun shows, people can purchase these kinds of weapons without going through a background check. And red flag laws. I think we've seen many situations where if we had a red flag law, I know that they go under different names, where there would be an opportunity for law enforcement and others who have knowledge of somebody presenting a danger to others, could say, wait, this person should not be in possession of one of these weapons right now. Let's have a process. Let's remove the weapon from somebody who is posing a danger, and figure out what we need to do.
Right. So we've covered a lot of things, from reproductive rights, gun control, border issues, environmental issues, education. What do you want to say to Cochise County? What do you speak from your heart? What do you feel that they don't know about you? What do you want them to know?
Well, I think, what I would say is, it's right now, being in the United States, I think it's tough. And I certainly think a lot of people living in our rural areas have a harder time than a lot of people living in cities, in terms of some of the issues that we've been talking about. Mm-hmm. Access to internet, easy access to schools, colleges, higher education. And I think what I see my role is learning how we can, bridge these divides, and make sure that really it doesn't matter where you live in the United States. And it doesn't matter where you live in Arizona. You are entitled to good education, quality health care, and real economic opportunity. Not just a job, but a job that's going to lead to a career. And these are the issues that I want to work on. I'm somebody that, just when I see people are not getting a good deal, when I see, injustice, and I see things that I can bring people together to fix, I'm somebody that jumps in and works with others to fix it. So I'm a very accessible person. When I was serving in the Arizona legislature, we would have monthly town halls. I'd send out newsletters to let people know what I'm doing and to also seek the input of people in the community for what they wanted to see me work on. Mm-hmm. So I think for people in Cochise County, I'm going to be down there, as much as I can. And it's not going to stop with the election. I really learned to, I really loved my visits there and to learn about the broader community. And there's just so much that people have to offer.
Okay. Now, we had some individuals speak earlier about have you participated in any debates, and I feel like that's a great segue to lead into what you're going to be doing tomorrow. So go ahead and let everyone know about that upcoming debate.
Well, I have to say, my opponent decided not to do it. So no, he has turned down the debate.
Oh,
so we are not having a debate tomorrow because Juan Ciscomani said no.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you guys were still.
So Arizona Public Media has changed the format. Okay. So it's going to be individual interviews with us individually, and this is the big debate. In congressional races, the big debate is the one that's hosted by Arizona Public Media. That is the debate that was scheduled for tomorrow. But it is not going forward. And we accepted the debate, and he did not.
Okay, well, hey, thank you for letting me know because I was gonna go see the debate. But okay, well, chat, this is your opportunity. We've answered we've asked and she's answered a number of different questions. Is there anything else before we wind down that you guys would like to ask Ms. Engel before we log off here? Give them some time.
Well, I'm certainly not, this is not the only opportunity. My website is engelforarizona.com. Mm-hmm. And you can also email the account there, and we can answer your questions. Certainly there will be other forums, I know. So if folks don't have questions here tonight.
When is the next time that you'll be in Cochise County?
I think I'm coming this weekend. The NAACP is having a event on Saturday. Mm-hmm. As I recall, that's going to bring us down this Saturday. So seems like we're in Cochise County. It seems once a week.
All right, excellent. So everyone, and she's absolutely right. The Greater Huachuca Area Branch of NAACP is hosting their candidates forum this Saturday at the Sierra Vista Library in the Mona Bishop Room. That will be from 1 to 3:30 p.m. The first half of that program will be a mayoral debate between Clea McCall, Rachel Gray, and Mr. Conroy, and then followed by meeting the other candidates, having an opportunity to ask some questions from school board, to state, and even congressional candidates. So please come on out this weekend. Once again, that's going to be at the Sierra Vista Library, the Mona Bishop Room, and that's going to be from 1 to 3:30 p.m. Ms. Engel, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure getting to interview you, letting Cochise County know where you stand on these issues and how, if elected, you plan on representing them. And one thing that I did want to address to the chat, we reached out to both sides, okay? We are interviewing the Sierra Vista candidates, which is a nonpartisan race, and we reached out to the Democratic candidates and the Republican Party to see if they wanted to have their candidates interviewed. And the Democratic Party is the only one that responded. So I encourage you, just as I have in the past, reach out to your Cochise County Republican Party and let them know that you want to hear from their candidates as well. All right. We are not picking any winners here. We just want to make sure that you guys, as far as Cochise County, have an opportunity to meet the candidates, ask your questions, and see how they're going to represent you. So please reach out to your parties and make sure that they are supporting this effort to help educate our constituents. So, Ms. Engel, I want to thank you so much for coming and joining us this evening. And we look forward to seeing you this Saturday, and it's going to be a great time.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. We will be interviewing Ms. Kathy Hoffman, who is the Superintendent of Public Instruction for the state of Arizona. Such a hefty title. I got to make sure I get it right. So please join us for that tomorrow. And then we'll also be interviewing Councilman Rodriguez as he runs for his reelection this Thursday as well. All right. Everybody have a great night. Bye-bye.